Wrexham's FA Cup dreams are over at the hands of Chelsea, and Real Madrid leave it late, but they keep themselves in the title race in La Liga.
In Italy, the Madonnina has spoken, and in the Bundesliga, the middle of the table is a race to the finish, but the top and bottom might already be spoken for. All of this and more in this episode 122 of the No Business Soccer Podcast. News, kick us off.
Let's dig in. Welcome back to the No Business Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Snooze, and we got a almost full fam today. Brainiac J-Fam is on the ones and twos today, while Danny P is playing with his cat. He's helping his cat out for something. I almost said whatever. All right. And, of course, everybody's here for one guy and one guy only, and that's our hype man, Vic. What you sipping on, dog?
Well, I'm going to still be a homer. Last time I had some bourbon, it was the Cash Strength Garrison Brothers, but they just released a new bottle. You might know what it looks like because it's like one that's like very bright, but it's their Garrison Brothers bottled in bond, and it's some of the oldest juice that they have. This is 6-year-old whiskey, and of course, Snooze, bottled in bond, it has to be a minimum of 4 years.
Yeah, it's bonded.
100 degrees. Jesus, 100 proof, which is 50% alcohol. But since this is some of the oldest juice that they have, it's like dark in there, man, because this Texas heat definitely ages the shit out of some whiskey, and it's absolutely delicious. You get dark caramel, you get like some brown sugar and some molasses on this thing, but it is absolutely incredible. And while I take a sip, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. It's the best way to help out the channel and say, hey, maybe these guys are pretty cool to talk to every once in a while. Cheers, everyone.
We all know that hype man Vic likes his whiskey like he likes his women. And strong, dark, and caramel. I don't know. Sweet. Whatever.
Yeah.
But we got a almost full slate of games to go over today. So we got plenty to cover. We have the European reach around, as we call it here on Mondays, or European wrap up, whichever one you prefer. We have a full slate of Serie A, Bundesliga, La Liga to cover, as well as touching on the FA Cup that happened at the FA Cup matches that happened at the weekend, and of course the look ahead for the I guess it's the round of 16 now, not the playoff round of the Champions League and all the leagues, honestly, Conference League and the Europa League as well. But before we get into all of that, hype man Vic, we got to go boots on the ground in Austin, Texas for the Austin FC Minute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we suck again. Austin FC failed to score on the road against Charlotte. And I know it was 3-1. Austin had one, but Charlotte also scored that. So I'm not even counting that. That was a back header. It was terrible. I don't know what happened. But it was a very weird game. Our own Guillermo Biro had a red card in the 25th minute for literally stepping. There was no studs up or anything like that, but he did step on a guy. He kind of hard fouled him before, but it was still a ridiculous red card. Not a red card in my eyes. But, he stepped on him. The guy was already going to ground. It's whatever. Apparently it was really, really bad showing for Austin FC, but that's the way it goes. And we are now 1-1-1. We had it with a -1 goal differential. We are almost perfectly balanced. I wanted to use the Thanos snap meme, but we're at a -1 goal differential because we don't ever score that much. But hopefully we can rebound this next weekend as we take on Real Salt Lake, who are 2-0-1. But we will talk about that more on the next one. This is just going to be a pure minute. Look at that.
Oh, look at you. Yeah. Just to go over the minute like we always do, I have to say, first game, awesome at home. We got we got to see some attacking prowess. Oh, you like that? And it looked like it was going to be good. It looked like we were going to be set, especially with the way that Facundo Torres is playing. And then the past 2 games since then, 2 games, haven't seen any attack really, other than the scrappy goal that Martinez got. Martinez, that's the last name? Gonzalez? Ramirez, man, I was racist right there. Yeah, that guy that came from LA over here. Martinez, Gonzalez, Ramirez, whatever his name is. Christian Ramirez.
Yes.
There you go. But yeah, besides that scrappy goal, I mean, we haven't had much going forward. That game was very very dry. And I remember watching the first half seeing the first half in this game for Austin FC, and I was putting the baby to bed. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to lock in on the second half. And then I put the baby down, take a shower, come out, and it's 2-1. We're down with the red card. Whenever I was watching it, it was 1-1, and it was all good. So, yeah, I don't know what happened in that whatever few minutes that I couldn't watch. But anyway, it's frustrating, Vic. Frustrating. But this is an Austin FC.
We'll say just real quick, there was an injury with Danny Pereira. He was removed because he had a hamstring injury. He seems to be okay. He'll be back pretty quickly. He might be out for a week or two. He's already posted that he's doing fine. He's fine.
Good, because you can't have hamstrings this early in the season.
No,
keep you healthy.
It's crazy.
Okay. Well, that is your Austin FC minute. And now I think it's time, and full disclosure here, Hyman Vic said he needs to get to Lowe's or Home Depot before 10. So we gotta get the show on the road here and get him out the door. So let's do it, Vic. Let's go to Italy.
Let's do it to Serie A.
All right. Well, we had a very interesting weekend in Serie A. We had, of course, the Derby della Madonnina. We had some of the old heads creeping back up to get exactly what they should. And we had some, I don't want to say upsets, but just some game. Well, yeah, okay, we did have one upset. We'll talk about it, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But just some games all around that I didn't expect for these results to happen this way. And the first one that we have to talk about, though, is the main one. Well, actually, it's not going to be the first one we talk about. It's one that happened today. And by the way, before we jump into this, I'm all over the place right now because because of the time change. I was telling Vic before we got on the pod, it's like these games kick off at 2:45 now, not 2. So I'm sitting there waiting for it at 1:45, and it's not coming on. I don't know what happened. But yeah, if you're in Texas like we are, 2:45 now, which means I can't get to watch all the games. But either way, we had a good one between Lazio and Sassuolo, and we will talk about that right now, Vic.
Let's do it, because it is one of your No Business Soccer podcast top matches and headlines for Serie A. Match day 28. Last news said it was Lazio and Sassuolo. It was a mid-table matchup, and it went the way of our old stomping grounds as Lazio pick up the 2-1 win against Sassuolo.
I picked this one as one of the top matches to watch for this weekend because Sassuolo had been on a freaking tear, and I figured the way that our Lazio had been playing, this would just be a game that Sassuolo got to put another, what's the word, Vic? Like a pelt on their belt, scalp for their collection, whatever you want to call it. Lazio, one of the blue bloods of the Serie A, and they just hadn't been doing too well. But today, Sassuolo goes to the Stadio Olimpico, and they come up short as our Lazio get it done 2-1. And it's one goal super early and one goal super late. They end up winning it by a score of 2-1 with that header in I think it was the 91st minute. There's 5 minutes of extra time. So, yeah, getting very late for them, but they end up getting that win. And if you haven't seen it, the Sassuolo goal is really good as well. This team is just a good team. I think that they'll bounce back from this loss pretty easily. Not sure where Lazio is going for this one, but either way, it just feels like Sassuolo is they came into the league and they're already at a place where, not that they've reached the potential, maybe they have, but it's kind of like how much further could they actually go? I felt like if they won this one, they could probably go pretty far into the Champions League, well, not Champions League, but the European places. But they just proved that they're just not there yet, but they're definitely ahead of schedule, and I'm excited to see what they do for the rest of the season, but then also going into next season.
And your next match was, of course, the Derby della Madonnina, and it goes the way of Milan taking down the league leaders Inter 1-0.
We said it was like a cup final for Milan, and they absolutely played like it. Again, even with the win, Inter are 7 points ahead of Milan in the table. So they're still going to win the Scudetto. I don't think there's a chance that Milan will catch them because it would take an absolute terrible drop in form for Inter, and they just haven't proved that they would do that for the rest of the season or for a prolonged part of the season. But Milan had nothing else to play for except this, and they win the Derby della Madonnina. There was just one goal in this one, and Estupinian gets his first goal for Milan, but Inter really should have had a couple more. If you watched the game, you know that at the beginning, well, more towards the first half or in the first half, Çalhanoğlu had a perfect opportunity, a one-on-one with the keeper, and he basically sprinted half the way down the pitch. He gets into the box. He's untouched. They're trying not to foul him, and he shoots directly at Mannion. I always get that Magnon. I think he's French. Magnon. But either way, he shoots directly at him, and it's just a wasted opportunity. And then Thuram had a chance. Of course, he was at an angle that's you can't expect him to score it. But man, it was just chance after chance that they didn't take. And of course, Estupinian gets his goal, and that last name always trips me up, man. I feel like I'm calling someone a real bad name, but either way, he gets the job done. He gets his first goal for Milan in the Derby della Madonnina, and they get the win. I felt like Inter were the better team overall, but Milan just kept grinding away and kept frustrating Inter and not letting them get going. I mean, of course, they, in the first half, did that themselves, but they get 3 points here, Milan that is, and man, they are on a roll now. Even though there's a slim chance that they can get that Scudetto, I think if they would have lost this or drew, they would have known it's over. Now, there's still a slim chance in their minds, even though everyone else probably understands that it's a done deal. But, hey, more power to them.
And those are your top matches for Serie A match day 28. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of the match day. And it started on Friday as Napoli make it 2 straight with a 2-1 win over Torino.
It was just what Napoli needed, a dominant win that was never in question. Torino's goal came in the 86th minute and felt too little, too late. Keep an eye on Alisson Santos for Napoli, though. He scored their first goal from outside the box again, and he looks like he's going to be the real deal.
We then move to Saturday as Cagliari continue their slide, losing to Como 2-1.
This was just a good game all around. Scrappy, hard-fought calcio. And Como took the lead. Cagliari leveled it and took a wonder strike from Da Cunha to give Como all 3 points. But Cagliari tested the Como keeper multiple times, or it would have been a different result. Just a good classic calcio game. And I don't know if you're not in the know, calcio, you know, that's football in Italia, man. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And Saturday continued with a mid-table stalemate as Atalanta and Udinese draw 2-2.
Udinese, despite falling behind in the stat sheet, were up 2-0 deep into this game. It took 2 no-bullshit headers from Scamacca, one in the 75th and one in the 79th to level it for Atalanta. But it really felt like Udinese should have come away with some points, or 3 points in this one. Then in the end, they only get 1.
And Saturday ended with a thrashing, and it goes the way of Juve this time, beating the now sole owners of last place, Pisa, 4-0.
Yeah, it was 1 goal shy of a belt to ass as well.
Almost.
Gotta get it. But this one went about as well as we figured it would. Juve would be full of they would be full of piss and vinegar, not puffs and vinegar, because that's a different thing. I don't know what puffs and vinegar would be, Vic, but piss and vinegar. And after this one, Juve got himself a goal as well. It just all around nice vibes for Juve. I'm sure your friend was pretty happy with this. You can't hate on a 4-0 on just a Saturday evening. I mean, golly, I bet Turin was happy.
We then move to Sunday as the Milkmen pick up another dub, beating Cremonese 2-1.
Cremonese fall into the relegation zone, and I'm afraid that with their form, they might not be able to get themselves out. They were down 2-0 to the Milkmen and fought back late to try and force a rally, but they fall short overall, and it feels like the Milkmen have turned a corner while Cremonese, well, they've fallen down and they kept falling, and I think they're pretty much going to stay down, Vic. If we're putting money on it, let's just say I'd put money that Cremonese is one of the teams relegated at the end of the season.
A pretty good bet there. But Sunday continued, speaking of relegation, with a shocker as Verona get just their 3rd win of the season as they beat Bologna 2-1.
It's the first win in 13 Serie A matches for Hellas Verona as they hit Bologna on the counter and sliced through them like a hot knife through butter. A beautiful thing to watch, but it was way too easy for their goals. Bologna's winning streak is over, and they're just blah right now.
And next up, we had a lower table matchup that played just like that as Fiorentina and Parma draw 0-0.
Fiorentina get a point and stay above the drop zone, but only by a single point. Parma stay unbeaten, and while not the most fun game to watch, I'm sure both sides will be okay with the result in the end.
And our next match was Genoa, keeping things interesting as they beat Roma 2-1.
Here was the upset I was talking about in the beginning. Genoa do themselves and Como a big favor by beating Roma. They move up to 13th and are now 6 points clear of 18th, and Como now jump into the top 4. It also made the race for the 4th place, or the last Champions League place, much more interesting and close between Juve, Como, and Roma. It's going to be a hell of an end of a season.
And Sunday ended with the Derby della Madonnina, we already talked about. And Monday Night Football was your other No Business Soccer podcast top matchup that we talked about as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the table. The table is still pretty set the same way. You have Inter on top, although with that loss, the lead is now only down to 7. As we have Milan in the number 2 spot, take it with 60 points. And then 4 points behind them is Napoli, still trying to make themselves relevant. They have 56 points in the number 3 spot. And then rounding out our top 4 is Como with 51 points. And then
crazy.
Exactly. Yeah, no. Tickling our top 4 is Roma, also with 51 points off of that loss to Genoa. That's why I said they were keeping things interesting. And you know what? Just in case Christian was watching, number 6 spot, Juve is 50 points right there, just knocking on the door, trying to get in. And let's see what happens the rest of the season. And some might be the last rest of the season in Serie A for these 3 teams on the bottom, as Cremonese are the 18th spot. They would be the first team relegated if the season ended today. They have 24 points. They're followed by Hellas Verona, who now own the 19th spot with 18 points. And that leaves Pisa at the bottom, a solid foundation for Serie A. They have 15 points, holding up the rest of the table. Womp, womp, indeed. Yeah, finally some some difference between Verona and Pisa. They've been the same team for like eight weeks, I think. It's been pretty crazy.
I feel like, yeah, I mean, they finally, there's a difference there. And then, I mean, you look at that relegation battle, 24, I mean, really to Torino, I guess we'd have to go to Genoa, 2 games, right? 6 points separates 14th to 18th. Pretty good little battle there. But then with Genoa beating Roma, we now got a 4th place race between Como, Roma, Juve, and I guess Atalanta as well. What is that? 4 points? I mean, or 5 points from Atalanta. So from 7th to 4th. Woo! That's going to be awesome. I wonder, I mean, they've got to all play each other soon, or I mean, they've got to play someone in the top. I'm pretty sure, because I don't know if we've seen all the Como games, because I've been trying to keep track if Como has played all the big teams yet, but
Como
they're struggling in those.
They play each other Sunday. Como and Roma.
Oh hell! Hey, well, we already know one. There you go. And as a man of my word, well, not even my word, just a man of honor, I have to admit that I chose Sassuolo to beat our Lazio, and they did not. They lost that game. We actually sucked this week's picks. So yeah, I picked Lazio to lose to Sassuolo, and Sassuolo didn't win. So yeah, that's a fail on me. Burn. We need like a burn, or like a, you know, like you messed up sound. That's what we need.
Yeah,
like a wrong sound.
Wrong answer. Yeah.
So producers, throw one in there whenever you get a chance.
A little excessive, but damn, it's still going.
That's it. There's no like,
there's no plop.
It's like, all right, one of those cartoons. All right, there you go. That's very fair. That's fair. That's a good one. Yeah, I got that one wrong. Okay. All right. Well, that's it for Serie A. Let's move on to a very interesting Bundesliga weekend. Let's go to Germany.
Let's do it to Bundesliga.
Oh, and you know what? I don't know if my brother watches our show here, but we talked about Oma's house, or Oma's Schnitzel house, or whatever the heck it was on our last. And the next day, my brother texted me and was like, "Hey, we got to go to this place," and it was that same place. So he either saw our show or he saw the viral post that I saw as well. So, you know, we got to go check it out. Though, by the way, the 21st, I think he said he wanted to go. So, if y'all want to go to Oma's, whatever the hell,
I need to talk to him about tattoos, anyways, too. So.
Yes, my boy trying to get tatted up over here.
Get tatted, bro.
Well, we have some news and notes that we need to get into, and this one's pretty interesting for the Bundesliga. So let's jump in. Michael Trippel, I will say his last name. I'm guessing it's Trippel. Michael Trippel, the stadium announcer at Cologne for the last 25 years, didn't agree with the reffing decisions in Cologne's game. It's hard to like switch between those two. I'm just going to use Cologne, okay? but he didn't agree with the reffing decisions in Cologne's game against Dortmund, and he let 50,000 people in Rhein-Energie Stadion know it. When a penalty was not awarded, he said widerlich, which means disgusting, and this is in the mic over the whole PA system. And then after the final whistle, he went on to say in the mic in front of the whole stadium that there was a clear handball that wasn't looked at in the 95th minute. I mean, this is going out to everyone, including the refs on the pitch. Trappell will undoubtedly get into some big trouble for this, but as he put it, if he's not some varnished television personality, nor does he pretend to be anything more than a fan with a microphone. I don't know if I've ever seen that before, Vic, but could you imagine Austin FC, the voice of Austin FC just be like, that was a bullshit call.
Put me in the booth for Austin FC. I will definitely do that shit.
There you go. See? So, the dude wears his heart on his sleeve, and it is what it is. He's like, I've been a fan of this team for 62 years. And so, I mean, come on. It's bound to slip up. But one time in 25 years, you can't get mad at that. That's a pretty good track record, actually. So
you earned it.
All right. That's it for the news and notes around Bundesliga. Vic, let's jump into the weekday.
Let's do it. And of course, we start with your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines for Bundesliga Matchday 25. And your top match was Leipzig, able to stop the Augsburg train as Leipzig get the win 2-1.
Leipzig win it in extra time, and it's an own goal that kills off Augsburg. For the past few weeks, I kept saying that Augsburg were unbeatable. And well, it turns out the only team that could beat them was themselves, because it was the own goal in stoppage time, like I mentioned, that did them in. They made it much harder than it needed to be, really, of course, when they have their own goal, but they also had a penalty blocked. And so, if you're going to lose a game, those are two things that can't happen. Or if you're going to win a game, those are two things that can't happen. But either way, Diamande for Leipzig was amazing. He has been for a while. He looked really good in this one. But I don't know if overall Leipzig looked like the better team in this game. This result probably shuts down the dream of Europe for Augsburg, but Leipzig are now level with VfB Stuttgart for the last Champions League spot. After all the turmoil and the downward spiral they were in for such a while, they might still get into the Champions League. Crazy stuff.
And that is your top match for Bundesliga Matchday 25. Let's go ahead and jump into the rest of the match day. And it, of course, started on Friday as Bayern continue their dominance with a 4-1 win over Borussia Mönchengladbach.
And it was about as easy as it could be for Bayern. And they were without Harry Kane due to a minor calf injury he had prior to the game. Maybe I think it was a rest for the Champions League game coming up, if you ask me. But Jamal Musiala did get a goal here, and he gets plenty of minutes in his leg. So he's starting to come into form. All around good stuff for Bayern. And there were some good things that happened for Gladbach. Well, at least one thing. Their goal was scored by a 17-year-old Wael Moya, I think that's how you pronounce that, who is the youngest ever scorer for Borussia Mönchengladbach. So let's clap for Moya. And I guess, if you're going to score a goal, be the youngest to do so in a 4-1 win or loss. You know what it is. Yeah. There's a lot of young kids. I think Bayern were rotating as well, because I was watching this game, and there's a lot of younger players coming in on both sides. And I can't remember his name for Bayern, but he, not only was he young, I believe he was in a teenager, 17 to 19, something around that range, but he was small. He was, after the game hugging all his players, and he was obviously tiny compared to them. This was one of those games where Bayern just dominated and were able to get some minutes to some people that didn't usually get some minutes. And I guess Borussia Mönchengladbach was like, well, screw it. We're not going to win this, so let's do the same. Cool stuff.
And it worked out. Yeah. But we are going to go to Saturday, and Saturday started with your No Business Soccer podcast. Top matchup, that was Leipzig and Augsburg. We already talked about that. So we go to Mainz and Stuttgart, splitting the points with a 2-2 draw.
One of the better matches of this past weekend. Mainz went up 1-0 in the first half, but could have easily been up 2 or 3 goals, but couldn't finish off some really ridiculous chances. Stuttgart came back to get 2 goals in the 76th and 77th minute. Yes, 1 minute between both of them, and they flipped the tie in their favor. But the football gods looked down in pity on Mainz, because they end up scoring in stoppage time to salvage the draw in the game that they really should have won. And again, there goes my other lock that I had, because I said Stuttgart would beat Mainz. So 0 for 2 on the snooze side of the house.
We then had a battle of the Heims, and this time it was the Hoff who were victorious as Hoffenheim get the 4-2 win against Heidenheim.
Double H give up 3 points once again, and Hoffenheim are grateful for them as they're able to stay put in the third spot and in the Champions League places. And it was about as one-sided as you can think.
And from a battle of the Heims to a battle of the Bergs, as Hamburg win this round 2-1 over Wolfsburg.
Wolfsburg are in serious danger of dropping down from the Bundesliga after this match, where the young Spurs defender on loan at Hamburg, had to throw that in there, Luka Vuskovic is lighting up the Bundesliga from the center back position, and he gets 2 penalties awarded to him. He takes and he scores one, and Hamburg gets all 3 points. He'll be the best player in the championship season next season for sure. He'll be dominating the championship next year.
And next up was a shootout as Bayer Leverkusen and Freiburg fight to a 3-3 draw.
Hell of a game between these two. So much back and forth. It felt like a basketball game at times. Hard to say that either side was a better side, so splitting the points seems about all right for both of them. But I just got to say one thing. Alex Grimaldo's free kicks are always so sexy, so sleek. The dude is so much fun to watch whenever he's getting put at that dead ball situation. Dude is a weapon from free kicks, and I'm excited to see him do this more. And, of course, hopefully in the World Cup as well.
And Saturday ended with Borussia Dortmund making it 5 straight without a win for Köln as Dortmund win 2-1.
Cologne continue to tumble down the table as they lose for a 4th time in the last 5 Bundesliga games and are now only 4 points clear of the drop, but level with St. Pauli for the playoff spot, which is not a positive playoff spot. That is a relegation playoff spot. Dortmund were up a goal when Cologne had a man sent off, and it's pretty much all downhill from there.
We then moved to everyone's favorite Sunday. And your first match was a dud, but it had some shiny parts as St. Pauli and Eintracht Frankfurt draw 0-0.
Oh, excuse me.
Excuse me.
Thought I was going to cough there. Well, the match of the weekend, I had it as a match of the weekend anyway. It went 0-0, and I can't say that I saw this one coming. The point will do for St. Pauli, so it's not on them. But overall, just very disappointed at how Eintracht Frankfurt played this game. They had the most possession of the two teams. They didn't really give any attacking threat, and that's not what they've been showing in the past few games where they've looked really, really good. It must have been a down week or an off game. I'm not sure, but either way, we got to see some better from Eintracht Frankfurt if they're going to get back into Europe.
And match day 25 ended with Werder Bremen going on the road to dominate Union Berlin 4-1.
Crazy scoreline here. Bremen take advantage of Union having a man sent off in the 19th minute and punish them with 4 goals on the road, no less. With this result, Werder were able to push themselves out of the relegation zone for the time being. It was a great night all around for Werder Bremen.
And those are your matches for match day 25 in Bundesliga. Let's go ahead and take a look at the table. Not that we need much of a look at the top, as we still have Bayern Munich at number 1. They have 66 points. They're 11 points clear of the best of the rest, Borussia Dortmund, who have 55 points. In the number 3 spot is your Can It Be number 3, still Hoffenheim with 49 points, fresh off a win. And then rounding out our top 4 is Stuttgart with 47 points. And as Snooze said earlier, tickling our top 4 tied with them is RB Leipzig with 47 points as well. And if we look at the bottom of the table, you see St. Pauli there in that playoff relegation spot. They have 24 points in the 16th place. They are followed by Wolfsburg, fresh off their loss in the Battle of the Bergs. They have 20 points in the 17th spot. And then they are only beating Heidenheim, who are a solid foundation for a Bundesliga. They have 14 measly points, doing their best to stay at the bottom of the table. All that after week 25. And look, if there's a huge traffic jam there from 16th all the way up to pretty much like 11th. There's some people fighting there. And then when you're only 4 points above that relegation line with Wolfsburg, couple of games can completely change this entire bottom half of the table. And I think that's probably the most, I don't know. There's the Champions League spots. Last couple of them are pretty interesting, but that relegation battle is going to be pretty fun as well.
9 more games. So yeah, couple of results here and there. Do a body good, they say. No one says that. I just said that right now.
No, said,
I just wanted to bring it up. Wolfsburg, not a team that gets a lot of attention on this side of the pond anyway. Maybe in Germany they do. But if you don't know, Wolfsburg, they are it's a city where the Volkswagen factory is, and it's a team that is run by Volkswagen. It was like a Volkswagen team at one point. And so they're flooded with money from Volkswagen, but there's been a big shift in I don't want to say the automobile, whatever you want to call it, market, but there's not as much emphasis on keeping this team and flooding it with money to be a big team in the Bundesliga. Because again, it was a team for this company that just kind of started rolling. And as they got more money, better players, it became what we know Wolfsburg to be now. And I listened to the Gegenpressing podcast, and they were talking about how Wolfsburg are in very big danger, because if they do go down, then it's not like Volkswagen is making a ton of money from this, and that this is one of their cash cows for the corporation. So if they get relegated, what's to say that they decide to put a bunch of money and pump money into the team so they can get themselves out of the second division? So it's kind of like a mini panic alert for Wolfsburg, who there's been other teams in Germany that they talked about how kind of similar thing. We're very big, had big stadiums, and were run by corporations. And those corporations kind of saw it fit to not necessarily be as forthright with the team. And they end up being kind of obsolete now. And so just keep that on record for this conversation right now, because in a couple of seasons, Wolfsburg, if they get relegated this season and they don't have this Bundesliga money coming in, and they end up not just being a priority for Wolfsburg or for Volkswagen, then Wolfsburg could be in very big trouble, and they could just be a floundering team that's going between the second and third divisions, maybe coming up every once in a while. But yeah, it didn't sound very uplifting if you're a Wolfsburg fan, which apparently people don't like them in Germany because of them being owned by Volkswagen. Those words keep pissing me off. But anyway, they like treat them kind of like Leipzig, where it's like, yeah, you're only here because you get a bunch of money from this one company. Either way, interesting stuff. Maybe the soccer nerd part of me coming out, but either way, I thought it was very interesting. So that's it for the Bundesliga. Vic, I think we're good to go. Anything else?
All good.
Okay, let's go to Spain.
Let's do it to La Liga.
A lot of good matches in La Liga. Like tons of them were just very, very interesting results as well. Stuff that I didn't see coming. Yeah, we have a lot to talk to, Vic. So let's jump in.
Let's do it. And of course, we're going to start with your No Business Soccer podcast. Top matches and headlines for La Liga Matchday 27. And your first match was Real Madrid avoiding 3 straight losses as they get the 2-1 win over Celta Vigo.
And man, it was a big letdown for Celta Vigo. They deserved something, at least a point from this game. And Real Madrid struck first with a rare Tchouaméni goal before TAA. Yes, that is Trent Alexander-Arnold. He got bullied and turned around by Svedberg, leading to the Celta goal. And it was 1-1 for virtually the entire match. In the 83rd minute, Iago Aspas, he comes on and he starts to run directly at Real Madrid. And he turned Asensio inside out and hit a perfect ball, but it happened to be right directly into the post and bounces away. The Iago Aspas at this point is the epitome of here for a good time, not a long time. Dude comes on in the 83rd minute and he just turns it on and starts sprinting, because why? Is it going to be done in 15 minutes anyway, 10 minutes? But it was really cool to see from him. Makes an immediate impact, and you felt like Celta with Aspas running like he would find another goal, but it just didn't happen. And Federico Valverde gets a ball at the top of the box and unleashes a long-range shot, which we all know he does, and it's deflected and it goes into the net for the winner. And man, there had to have been only a couple seconds left after that. Brutal loss for Celta, and not a convincing win by Madrid by any means, but they just get 3 points and they keep on moving on.
And your next match was Atleti continuing their run of form as they beat Real Sociedad 3-2.
All right. Well, I think we talked about a lot of the questions that went into this game, or a lot of questions coming into the game, rather, mainly around how these teams would play, because a lot of factors from Atleti's midweek Champions League match to the fact that these teams are playing in a less than a month, or maybe a little over a month, for the Copa del Rey final. And I was wondering how they would go at it. Would they be trying to, keep some of their cards closer to their chest, so that, or vest? What's the word? I think I know these until I start saying them. And I'm like, what? I guess I've never had to say these out loud. Right?
Yeah, right.
What the hell, man? I speak English, I promise. I don't know. But either way, Atleti, they were trying to, they're trying to keep something from La Real because they're playing in a final for a cup. Maybe this game isn't as important. And we've seen Atleti drop points in these games in La Liga, just a couple matches ago. But either way, they turned it on. Every time Atleti scored, Real Sociedad would equalize, and it was right after it. And I mean right after it, Vic. Atleti scored in the 5th minute. La Real scored in the 9th minute. Atleti scored again in the 67th minute. La Real equalized in the 68th minute. And the cliche that a team is the most vulnerable right after they score was very, very true here. The difference ended up being the substitute for Atletico Madrid, Nico Gonzalez, who came on and scored a brace from the bench to give them all 3 points. Again, this is not your typical 1-0 Atleti side anymore. They have some attacking threats, and they're using them in the correct way. What a game. Sad boy for our boy Rino Matarazzo. He gets another loss on his record, but either way, it was a hard-fought game, and I guess kudos to Atleti for getting the win.
And your last top matchup was the league leaders Barcelona getting it done as they take down Athletic Club 1-0.
I don't know if anyone is putting this one into the classics category, but in the end, Barca do what they need and they make sure they get 3 points and stay on top of the table. And their goal, go watch it back. If I tell you that Yamal cuts in from the right onto his left and hits a perfect quick fire shot into the corner of the net, you can picture exactly what I'm talking about because he's done it over and over and over. And every time it's just so beautiful and so fun to watch. Sexy, gives you a boner. And I know that because you've said that before. So he's completely unmarked in the box when he gets it. And Athletic Club collapse on him so quick, but it's too late. He's just too quick. He's just too damn good. Either way, man, this is a good result for Barca. I would say a good showing for Athletic Club because they didn't get blown out, but ultimately they just couldn't find any goals. And if it's not, Inaki Williams is hit or miss. The Nico Williams is out, but Sunset and Guruzeta, they weren't firing either. It's just this team, they were on a roll, but they're not scoring a lot. And when you play a team against Barcelona or like Barcelona, you have to be firing right, or else you're not going to get anything from this game because they have guys like Yamal that can hit that perfect ball. And that was the difference here. It was a good goal to watch. I wouldn't say great game, but good goal.
And those are your top matchups for La Liga Match Day 27. Let's go ahead and jump into the rest of the match day. And it started on Friday with your No Business Soccer podcast top matchup. That was Real Madrid and Celta Vigo. We talked about that one, so we'll move on to Saturday as Osasuna salvage a point and pull off the draw with Mallorca 2-2.
This game was as drunk as my boy Hype Man Vic was last Saturday. First off, Medici gets a brace and his second goal was slick. But his first goal, the keeper headed the ball into his chest and it rolls into the net to give Mallorca the lead. Yes, keeper headed the ball trying to get away from Medici. It went directly into Medici's chest and goes into the goal. It was very stupid. Mallorca have a man sent off in the 73rd minute. Osasuna have a guy sent off in the 83rd minute. So it is 10-10, and Mallorca has a 2-0 lead in the 88th minute of this game before Osasuna scored in the 89th minute. And then again in stoppage time for the equalizer by none other than our boy Anta Budimir. Crazy, crazy stuff. What a game.
And then Saturday continued with two teams desperate for 3 points, but both have to settle for one as Girona and Levante draw 1-1.
Levante, like Celta the day before, were undone by a deflected shot in stoppage time. Levante really deserved full points here and would have been in great position to get out of the bottom three had they got those points. But Girona found the way through to get that vital point. And again, splitting the points, probably not good for Girona is probably fine, but Levante, man, they really needed those extra 2 points.
And then Saturday ended with your remaining No Business Soccer podcast top matchups that were Atleti and Real Sociedad, and also Athletic Club and Barcelona. We talked about those. So we go to everyone's favorite Sunday, as Villarreal pick up all 3 points against the once mighty Elche 2-1.
Ooh, once mighty. That's man, that's like so October, November. Feels so long ago, doesn't it? Villarreal bounced back quick from that loss to Barca, and it was a nice 2-1 display at home to take down Elche, who've now fallen all the way down to 17th. They're just a point outside of the bottom three. I remember at one point they were like trying to get into those top four, the Champions League spots. Now they are right above relegation. Crazy, crazy stuff.
Once mighty, but then Sunday continued with Getafe staying on the winning track as they get the 2-0 win against Real Betis.
And this is getting crazy. Getafe are starting to turn it on at the right moment in the season. They're winning. They've won 4 of their last 5 in La Liga. And like I said in the preview, I'm not doubting them against anyone at the moment. They were a better team here, and Betis had almost nothing for them. Getafe are getting seriously close to those European spots. And honestly, I can't say that I saw it coming. I mean, we can look back at the table at just a month and a half ago, and they were one of the teams right there fighting for relegation to being 6 points outside of Europe. Crazy.
And our next match was Sevilla and Rayo Vallecano getting a goal apiece, a point apiece with a 1-1 draw.
I guess it's an okay result for both sides as they sit 6 points from Mallorca in 18th. And it also means neither of them have lost in the last 5 La Liga games. I don't know if you have a choice on either one, but it feels like they're both not getting relegated, both going to be under mid-table, and kind of standing pat.
And Sunday ended with Valencia continuing their trek in the right direction as they beat Alaves 3-2.
You know those games where you get like FOMO, you're just watching it and you're like, damn, I wish I was there. There aren't too many places I would rather be than in the Mestalla for a good old-fashioned comeback. And that's exactly what happened here for Valencia as they were 2-1 down in the 89th minute of this game and found a way to come all the way back for the 3-2 win. And Alaves into the game down to 9 men. This was chaos by the end of it. But man, the Mestalla was rocking.
And match day 27 ended with Monday Night Football, and we had some early goals, but ends all knotted up as Espanyol and Real Oviedo draw 1-1.
Yeah, again, because these are so late now, I don't get to watch them as much. I have to watch back exactly what happened, but I think a 1-1 seems about right because on the preview we were saying how both of these teams are in a free fall, but just from different spots in the table. Oviedo, we've pretty much confirmed that they're going to be down now, but Espanyol, I mean, so close to being in that top 4 for a while, or not so close. They were there for a while, but now they're starting to slip. And just here, I mean, if you can't get 3 points against Oviedo, Vic, where are they going to get 3 points?
Don't know. Like I said, there was Espanyol's in a form only a mother could love.
Yes.
But those are your matches for La Liga match day 27. Let's go ahead and take a refresher of not a refresher. It's a new table because we have a new match day done. But Barcelona are still ahead. They are 4 points ahead of Real Madrid. Barcelona have 67 points. Real Madrid have 63 points. They are followed by Atletico Madrid or Atleti. They have 54 points, and then tied with Atleti is Villarreal, rounding out our top 4 with 54 points as well. And then you have 11 points behind them, tickling our top 4, Real Betis, with 43 points. What a drop-off there. That's crazy. But let's take a look at the bottom of the table as you have Mallorca now. They have 25 points in the 18th spot. They would be the first team relegated if the season ended today. They're followed by Levante, who have 22 points with 4 points coming in the last 2 match days for them. Great job, you guys. And then Real Oviedo holding up the rest of the table with 18 measly points, still trying to fight out of their way, trying to fight their way out of bottom of the table. But man, doesn't look like that's going to happen. And great matchups this weekend, though. It was a really fun weekend. I mean, all top 4 won, but it was still a fun match day.
It was a very fun match day. I was looking at Valencia specifically in this table, how we were worried about them whenever they were playing Levante in the Valencia derby. I want to say it was maybe 4 match days ago. They were both kind of fighting in that relegation spot, trying to figure out who's going to go down. It was kind of like if either of them lose, it's going to be a bad spot. And so we said, Valencia got the win. They're probably going to kick on for here, not have to worry about it too much. And look at that. 9 points in the last 5 match days has them 32 points. And what is that? 7 points clear of the drop. So Valencia looking like they're staying up. They're doing pretty good in good form, back-to-back wins. I mean, let's go Valencia.
Let's do it. Yeah. I think there's only 11 match days left. Something like that. 19, 38. 11 match days left.
I just want to say, it is pissing me off, though, for Sevilla and Rayo. Like, they haven't lost any games in a while, but they're still, like, just not winning games that often. So it's just like, they're just there. It's just kind of like, it's like white bread, Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for La Liga. We do have some.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that?
I said La Liga. You were having trouble, but we were good.
Oh, I'm back on track now. All right. Hopefully, if we have some technical difficulties, we're good. All right.
Oh no. I think I'm cutting out this time.
Oh wow, it's always me. It's you this time. Look at that. Who would have thought?
Yeah, I know. No.
Well, it looks like you're good now. So what we want to jump into, we're almost done. Let's jump into the UEFA competitions because it is the round of 16 time. I was just about to say, oh, I guess I brought that out of nowhere on them. You know, sometimes it's good to work not against them, Vic. So that's my bad. Well, let's start in the Conference League. Of course, I had my tabs up and then I jumped on and I can't find them anymore. So anyway, the first leg of the round of 16 for the Conference League, Vic, a little bit more teams that we know. I know before it's like that rap video that we saw. That rap video. Wow, I sound like a 52-year-old dad. That rap video. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. The one from Liverpool, like the teams Liverpool be playing. We got to post that. It's freaking nice.
We got to post.
Oh, it's hilarious. But either way, in the first leg of the round of 16 in the Europa Conference League, we have Strasbourg taking on Rijeka. We have Shakhtar Donetsk taking on Lech Poznan. We have AZ Alkmaar taking on Sparta Praha, which is not the Praha team that we go for here. Rayo Vallecano, the team that we follow all the time, is taking on Samsunspor. Also, Mainz taking on Sigma. Crystal Palace taking on Larnaca. Our Fiorentina, taking on Rakow Częstochowa. There you go. That's our boys. We're taking on RC. And then, of course, the only other match that doesn't have anyone, well, I think there's two more. But either way, Celje taking on AEK Athens. So we got some better matchups than I will say in the knockout round. So the round of 16 is going to be interesting. And, of course, after this one, just be dwindling down to where it's the teams that are a little bit more, I guess the richer teams, we'll say, will probably be there. But that's the good thing about the Conference League is there's some teams that can shock you. And nobody wants to be going to these Eastern European sides around this time of year. It's going to get crazy. I don't think it's cold anymore over there, though, which is a good thing because sometimes it's crazy and it's cold. And if I know Vic, he does not like either of those things.
Not the cold, at least. Sucks.
Oh, you like crazy? Nope. Whoa, yeah. Bro. Chill. We're just talking about some soccer here. We're not talking about no sexual things. All right.
Wasn't either.
Moving on to the Europa League, and we have a few more matchups, a little bit more notoriety here. VfB Stuttgart taking on Porto, which should be a good matchup. We have a all Serie A matchup between Roma and Bologna, which is always interesting to see. Real Betis takes on Panathinaikos. Aston Villa takes on Lille. Nottingham Forest takes on Midtjylland. Freiburg taking on Genk. Stop it. Ferencváros taking on Braga. And Celta Vigo is taking on Lyon. And that is your round of 16 matchups. Vic, in this one, I think I'm really excited to see how these teams match up. I think it only sucks because the Roma matchup with Bologna, I don't want to see the same teams from the same division playing each other this early in the game, but it is what it is. But I think I'm really excited to see how far Stuttgart can go because they're playing like one of the better teams in the Bundesliga at the moment. And I feel like they can carry that over to the Europa League and just in Europe in general. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But also, Forest, like they're fighting relegation. I mean, we'll talk about another team fighting relegation who's in Europe, but they're fighting relegation and playing Midtjylland and Freiburg taking on Genk. It's going to be, interesting to see how these teams struggling in their domestic leagues do. But speaking of that, we will have to talk about another league, and that is the Champions League. Champions. There we go. All right, let me pull this up because we got some good matchups here, Vic. Okay. This is gonna piss me off. Okay, but Liverpool aren't doing too great in the Prem, but they get Galatasaray, which is a tough team, Turkish team, a better, or I guess one of the better Turkish sides in their league. But it shouldn't be too hard for Liverpool to get this win. Y'all played them earlier this season, correct?
They beat us. Yeah, they beat us.
Beat you? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. 2 legs. I feel like Liverpool have enough juice to get this over the line in 2 legs. Big tie, Newcastle taking on Barcelona. I saw a video of I think it was Javi coming in from Barcelona to Newcastle, and they're walking through. I guess it's a private airport, and he's looking around. And he's like, "Is this Hogwarts?" But it really did look like Hogwarts. It was hilarious. Like the building was all super nice, and everything. But Newcastle taking on Barcelona. Then we have the mighty Tottenham Hotspur in 17th place taking on 17th place in the Prem, taking on Atletico Madrid. First leg is in Madrid, and honestly, just lose it outright so we can rest. I saw a tweet saying that this would be one of the first ties where a team is resting their players in a round of 16 matchup to fight in the relegation battle in the domestic league, which is so true, man. We can't have any injuries or anything for a league, like for Champions League. We're not going to win it. So it's just like, it's just not fun. Anyway, Atalanta taking on Bayern Munich, which should be a pretty good matchup as well. Arsenal taking on Bayer Leverkusen. Chelsea taking on PSG. Bodo Glimt taking on Sporting, which is, wow, that one's cool. The fact that one of them gets to move on is even better because, obviously they're playing each other. But, if they're playing one of the bigger teams, maybe they get knocked out. I don't even know if we can say that about Bodo Glimt anymore, though, because they're knocking out all the giants. So we'll see how they fare in this matchup. And then probably the marquee matchup of the round of 16 is Real Madrid versus Manchester City. No disrespect to all these other matches, but I mean, maybe Chelsea, PSG. I know that Chelsea have been pretty decent lately, but either way, Vic, which one are you looking forward to the most?
I think I'm looking forward to Tottenham and Atletico Madrid.
Oh, shut up! All right, you're pissed me off. Instantly, just
it's becoming must-see TV for Tottenham. I gotta see.
It's not
how
what?
This is gonna. I gotta see how bad this is gonna get, bro. This is like
it could be pretty bad. And
I'm not even lying. I've been looking at your matches more than Liverpool matches.
Could you imagine if Spurs actually beat Atleti? Like, what the hell? Dude, no one wants us to win this. We need to focus on not being relegated. And like,
That's
golly.
So funny.
I mean, at this point, I wouldn't put it past them to do something stupid like that. It's like in the NFL, whenever you're like your team is trying to tank for better picks. At this point, we just need to tank in these games so that we can do better in the league. And knowing Spurs, we're not going to do that. It's going to be a game where a bunch of players play, and then we're tired this weekend. Whatever. We play Liverpool on Sunday anyway, right? So
yes, we do. You get an extra day of rest, man. Come on.
All right, cool. Well, I know you're going to ask me, but yes, I'm looking forward to. Oh, the suspense is killing you. Sorry, I had to burp right there. I think I'm looking forward to that Chelsea PSG match because there's a lot of storylines coming in on both sides with PSG not being the team that they were last season. Everybody just keeps waiting for them to click on or to kick on and to find that form that they hit last spring that we were all very hyped up about just because they were playing some champagne football. I don't know why I did weed for champagne, but champagne football. And it's just not happening. PSG is just not the team they were last season. But Chelsea, they have it's kind of a cop-out answer, but they can be great or they can be really bad. It's hard to say. Both of these teams have flaws, and to see them going at it at the Parc des Princes is going to be interesting. I'm excited to see that one the most, but I think all of these will be pretty good ties outside of Spurs, Atleti, hopefully. But anyway, okay, Vic, I think we said it all. I'm excited to watch these midweek matches. I'm glad that we got the wrap-ups done. So, DJ, play our music. Vic, take us home.
Everyone, we appreciate everyone for taking some time out of the day and talking about some European football. Be sure to like and subscribe on all of our social medias. Everything is at No Business Soccer Podcast, except for TikTok, except for Twitter. That is at No Biz Soc Pod because those names were way too damn long. Everyone, enjoy the Europa, the Champions League, the Conference League matches, and we will all talk to you very soon. Cheers.
Peace.